Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are. When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, what would the neighbors think?
I see you! Come look at Mr. Feather. Look what I have. Mr. Bird, remember? Bark, bark, bark. We're just playing. We're just playing. I'm trying to get you out of here.
Even still.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Crack yellow.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. One second. Go, go, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Crack yellow.
closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, what would the neighbors think?
I see you! Come look at Mr. Feather. Look what I have. Mr. Bird, remember? Bark, bark, bark. We're just playing. We're just praying on trying to get you out of here.
Even still.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. 1 second. Just okay, go, go, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. And you realize that you're not alone. Once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Crack yellow.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, what would the neighbors think?
I see you! Come look at Mr. Feather. Look what I have. Mr. Bird, remember? Bark, bark, bark. We're just playing. We're just playing on trying to get you out of here.
Even still.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. 1 second. Just go, go, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got this.
It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. One second. Just go, go, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, what would the neighbors think?
I see you! Come look at Mr. Feather. Look what I have. Mr. Bird, remember? Bark, bark, bark. We're just playing. We're just playing. I'm trying to get you out of here.
Even still.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Crack down on
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, what would the neighbors think?
I see you! Come look at Mr. Feather. Look what I have. Mr. Bird, remember? Bark, bark, bark. We're just playing. We're just playing. I'm trying to get you out of here.
Even still.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Crack down on
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control.
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When And you realize that you're not alone. Once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. One second. Just go, go, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, with the neighbor.
Yes, Joe McGowan.
Joanna from the library.
But no.
Yes, McGugan.
Sorry about that. I was trying.
It's been on.
That's all I got right now. No income numbers hanging out.
Okay.
Ben Mitchell just joined.
Good evening. This is the Wednesday, May 14th, 2025 meeting of the Finance Committee. We are at the Public Safety Complex at 576 Pleasant Street. We are also available on a Zoom link. We, the Finance Committee, is a committee membership of 7. There are 4 present physically, and 1 is joining us by way of Zoom. That's 5. 4 is a quorum. I declare we have a quorum, and we're open for business. So I'd like to start this evening by reshuffling our agenda. Because this particular agenda was prepared last week prior to the town election, in which case we had no indication or idea which way the vote would play out. So depending upon which way it went, we had plenty on our agenda to speak to. But because of the election results, I think principal focus should really be on item number 5, which is a review and discussion of the annual election ballot question results, and by extension, what our next steps are with the FY26 budget. So with that, if you'll allow me to suggest item number 3 that we hold in its entirety to a future meeting. There's a number of meeting minutes that we need to, for lack of a better word, clean up and get posted on the website, but some of them are in arrears, and I think holding them for another couple of weeks is is the appropriate thing to do, in particular, given what's in front of us. The next item, number 4, I'd like to take out of order and have that later on in the meeting so that we can dedicate most of this evening to next steps regarding the FY26 budget, which is number 5. And number 6, I'd like your permission to converse back to the Charter Review Committee. I've been in contact with that committee, and in particular its chair, about having a joint meeting with the Finance Committee. Hopes was to have it a week ago, and at the very minimum have it sometime in May, but I think I'd like to get back to them and say the same thing regarding the meeting minutes. Would you beg our indulgence and let us tend to that, and we'll get in front of you and you in front of us as soon as possible. So that essentially would leave us with the FY26 next steps on the budgets, and we do have some year-end transfers, which, if I'm not mistaken, Heather, are time sensitive, so that we should really dedicate some time, and I'll watch the clock accordingly to make sure that we dispense with those. So as a little bit of a tee up of the discussion this evening regarding the budget, what I think is going to be in front of us for, and don't hold me to this, but for the next couple of hours and the next couple of weeks and the next couple of meetings is not going to be fun for any of us. A lot of us around the room have dealt with budget deficits before, but speaking for myself, I've never dealt with one of this particular magnitude of $1,130,000, pardon the slight rounding. So what we're going to have to do is to have some hard discussions, ask some hard questions, make some tough decisions, of which there's going to be plenty for everybody to dislike, plenty for people to think that we did too much, plenty for people to think that we didn't do enough. But there's no perfect way to go about this. It's going to hurt. That's a big number for us to overcome. I don't think there's a perfect way or a perfect solution to go through it. But what we have had some success on the Finance Committee of doing is working from a single page and then going off into some ancillary or peripheral information and bringing it back to that centerpiece page again, to find out where we are in terms of the budget deficit is now $500,000 less, $300,000 less, $200,000 less. So I've led with my chin and prepared that the single page. And if just give me one more minute, Heather. It's if you like it, great. If you hate it, I own it. If I were to point the needle, I think there'd be a little leaning toward not loving it per se. But a lot of it has to do with what I've heard, what some of you have shared with me. Put it all on one page. There's about 14 items. It's not that simple, because one item could basically take an hour to discuss, and we may have to adjourn and come back next week and bring the answers and get further along on it. They're not listed in any order of priority. Frankly, they are listed as they came to mind, or as some of you shared a comment or an email with me. I added it, and I may have reshuffled it, so I don't want anybody to read into a personal agenda that I have, because I have none. But I also thought that writing by committee, balancing the budget by committee, which we need to do incidentally, but if you get my point, from a blank sheet of paper and just have a round table of discussion couldn't be or likely wouldn't be as effective as something of this nature. So I'm not asking you to like it, I'm just letting you know what I decided to use as our starting point. There are members from the public here. There are members from the select board here. I would hope that we could engage with all of you at the appropriate time, but I would hope you would respect and recognize that we want to get through our business as well, and I'll pick the appropriate time. It doesn't necessarily mean it would be left entirely to the end, but if you'll just allow my judgment to intervene in terms of when we recognize you and when we ask you to defer your comments a little bit later. So with that, Heather, here's the one page that I'm asking you to put up. I'm going to ask you if you'll allow me to walk you through it so that we don't end up talking about number 1 and everybody's focus is on number 12. I want you to know that maybe it's coming. But there is the other side of the budget, which was the forbidden fruit for a long time, is the revenue side, but I think this Finance Committee, and in particular working with the town accountant and town administrator, we've looked very carefully at the revenue side, and that might be a first step for us to take a look. We like to be conservative, but we need to ask the question whether or not we've been ultra-conservative, and maybe there's a little bit of room to wiggle there. We have new growth to talk about. I have some things to share with you regarding Wachusett Regional School Assessment, suggesting, and if you can keep in mind, items 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think should ultimately be taken by the town administrator back to the departments to help, have them help us determine where they think they can land and what they can live with. But one of the suggestions is pausing any unfilled positions right now. Doesn't mean that everybody in the room needs to agree with it, but it's what I'm leading with my chin and putting on the table. There were a number of departments that were out of guidance. Some would argue that they're out of guidance, and others would argue that there was unnecessary being out of guidance. So I'm not passing judgment as to whether or not that should carte blanche be rescinded or reduced. I'm just saying it should be talked about. And there were 3 principals amongst those: police, fire, EMS, DPW, which is almost always the case all the time because they're 3 big departments. I didn't delineate the 10 other departments, but there are 10 others that combined to be $38,000 out of compliance, suggesting, and again, I own it. Doesn't mean that everybody needs to like it or agree with it, but I had to start somewhere, that all non-personnel costs, including purchased services or any other things that are non-personnel, be cut back by 5% for all small departments, and small is in quotes, for others other than me to determine what is a small department. Do the same thing at the 10% level for larger departments. That we eliminate all in the budgets that exist now, all travel, meetings, conferences, stipends paid to boards, commissions, committees. We've done that previously, but there are some that are lingering, and there are some that are required by Mass General Law that we can't touch. there may be others that I didn't think of, and I wasn't intending to go down a complete budget worksheet to list all of them, so the other obviously speaks for itself. I think there's a reason to and need to revisit some repurposing of funds. There's lots of reasons why they can be repurposed, but they can't land to the immediate help of the budget. That's okay. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure that we are exhausting the possibility that they could be of some help to the budget. I had heard the other day that there may be some lingering tax title or uncollected taxes that are out there, and just want to make sure, and could very well be that it is absolutely the case that we're vigorously collecting them, but I would want to make sure that we're told that as opposed to us thinking that or thinking otherwise. It might be an opportunity to take a look at employee health insurance benefits that are paid. A lot of discussion in particular at the Capital Improvement Planning Committee about maybe getting creative in terms of accessing and using Chapter 90 Mass Department of Transportation funds. Maybe they can help with things that are currently in the budget, like guardrails and line painting and small equipment. Maybe, maybe not, but we're talking about. I know it's a hot topic, number 10, and the theory is that we've talked about it ad nauseum, but I don't know that we've fully exhausted what we can talk about there. And there are budgets that are associated with the Anna Maria contracts that run for 5 years, from 21 until June 30th, 26, but there are annual budgets that are prepared, and I think there's reason to, and I have an appetite for taking a look at those. We've talked a lot about selling 10 West, and mostly about why we can't do it. I think one of the principal reasons is I think there's a connection with the septic system, but there was also a reason that you needed 10 West in the event that you were going to, or the town was going to vote to expand Town Hall. I frankly don't see the expansion of Town Hall in any of our immediate futures. I think consideration should be given, because it would be an influx of cash, of considering what financing, refinancing possibilities might exist with the new fire truck that we took delivery of in the fall of 2024. One of the members here made mention of this. I think it's a good idea. Collective bargaining agreements are often contractual issues that we can't touch, but maybe consideration in the future is to have somebody from the Finance Committee be a member of those negotiating teams. And then the last thing is not to lose sight of free cash, which is going to come at a premium in future years, and we want to keep in mind that I think those three items up there actually conflict with one another. And I think it's worth talking, and that is that in the 5-year projections, we've projected $500,000 of free cash to be used in the budget every one of those years. Frankly, if we budget as tightly as we claim that we have done, particularly for FY25, there could be some risk of not attaining that level of 500,000, and then what do we do? Because there's 500,000 in the budget this year, that's still causing $1,130,000 deficit. But we also have financial management policies that indicate that we should be in the 5th year of a 10-year plan to get away from using all the free cash on our particular budget. Not the least of which is that we have, because we've dipped into both of these considerably in the last 2 years, but we have stabilization funds and capital depreciation funds that are not only woefully underfunded, they're dangerously underfunded. So some of what is on this page is absolutely directed toward the FY26 budget. Some of it is a little more longer term, but I think they're all worthy of talking about, with focus, of course, on FY26. But let's not lose sight of the other years so that we're not back here next year and the next year doing the same thing, talking about the same thing. So with that, rather than answer any questions, I'd like to go back to the top and start, and Heather didn't communicate this to you, but maybe you could take the lead on a discussion, and we don't need the number this evening. I think it's important, and the select board was very deft in mentioning last night that we don't have a lot of time. Originally, I thought we had until maybe June 14th, because the annual town meeting isn't until June 16th, but I always joke about this. The Finance Committee has 10 days and the printer has 2 weeks. So we got probably 2 weeks to do this. I think later on we'll talk about meeting dates, but I think if we can talk a lot about the things that we are going to request of you, Heather, and the department heads to come back to us. I don't think any of it, it'd be nice if all of it or some of it was resolved tonight, but that's not the expectation. But the expectation is that next week we really have some hard numbers as where we are. But you have mentioned on a couple of occasions that maybe there's some room in the local revenue side, and maybe you want to talk about that. And I'll talk about some of these, you can talk about some of these, and hopefully other committee members will chime in as well.
Sure. So under the revenue sheet piece, there's a couple of things to bring to everyone's attention. So I did mention this last night at the select board meeting. So when we put the original revenue sheet together, we missed the insert of the debt interest for the municipal side in the tax levy, which is in our favor, of $86,519. Jeff, I'll send you these numbers after for your notes.
Thanks a lot.
$86,519. On the motor vehicle...
Could the clerk repeat that, please?
Yeah. I'm actually looking at these out-of-guidance numbers.
So the next piece here was the motor vehicle excise. So we talked about this a little bit last night. So I've been working with Larissa on that number. So there's a 20% increase max before she has to write an explanation that's very detailed to the state. But there's also the potential that if we write a number that's higher than what we actually collect this year, the state will not accept that number and we'll have a problem. So as of right now, we were at approximately $782,000 on Monday of what we've collected year to date for motor vehicle excise. Last year, we collected a anomaly number of about $840,000. This year, we still have approximately $70,000 or so that is committed, which we may or may not collect some or all of it. It's usually a good idea that we'd collect some, but probably not all. To date, we had funded approximately or estimated for next year just over $760,000. So, you know, if we're okay with it, and, you know, again, it's not a comfortable number, and it will reduce, to Mark's point, the ability to generate free cash next year like we normally do, but we could increase that estimate from just over the 760 something mark to 790, and that would increase our revenue adjustment by $26,594. And then the only other piece on the revenue side, and I'm happy to touch on Mark's pieces there, is under the state aid, or rather, under state aid, we are currently up to the Senate's version of the budget, and the Senate's version of the budget versus what we had written is about, some things went up, some things went down, a net difference of about negative $7,705. So it's still going to go through the Joint Ways and Means and then get signed off at the end of the day. That may or may not happen before town meeting, but right now that's a little bit of a difference than what we had. All in all, that would adjust our revenues by increasing the revenues in the amount of $105,408. and it would be decreasing our budget down to $1,024,560. As far as the other two pieces you have up here, Mark, the last one I assume you wanted to address, but as far as new growth increase, going from 65 to 80,000, we're struggling right now to even get to that $65,000 number before the end of June. Dee is here from the Board of Assessors. She can happily answer any questions anyone has on how we get to new growth or where those numbers currently are. But we've been struggling over the past couple of years. Right now, as discussed last night at the select board meeting, we do have an annual town meeting article to repurpose some of the funds we had from a prior article to put towards the mapping that we've been talking about, near map and push pin, that a lot of assessors' offices have had great success with adding to the new growth that they're able to collect. So that wouldn't solve our problem for FY 26's budget, but it would start help making improvement, hopefully, for FY 27.
So Heather, the number that you ended with, does or does not that include the Wachusett Regional School District assessment adjustment?
It does not include the Wachusett Regional School District assessment. I just met with the school district yesterday in the morning with the other town administrators. They had discussed always the potential that if they get additional funding, they'd like to share it back to the towns beyond what they originally had budgeted. We were talking yesterday, approximate splits, Holding got about 50%. I want to say Rutland was about a quarter, or 25%. Sterling got almost close to about 10% last year, and I think we were just over 8%, and then Princeton had the rest. So we wouldn't quite net, even if that $700,000 came back, and if that was in the final budget. Remember, state aid is still an evolving process. Even if that $700,000 was in the final budget, I don't think we would necessarily see 10% of that. It would be less than that number. But I don't think that's something we can necessarily account for at this time.
Can we get a closer, definite answer to that? Because my understanding was from the meeting of 5 of the member town finance committee chairs with the superintendent and with the vice president of finance, and that was followed by a school committee motion that the $700,000 overage that they're expecting would go back to the member towns to reduce their assessment. I was told it was $700,000. I used 10%, and unfortunately it's probably 8.9%, but that's $70,000 worth chasing to determining definitively whether it's coming or not coming. I believe it is.
So, and that's the same message I got yesterday, that if they get that money, that's their intent. The only problem is that we don't know we're going to have the vote of the school committee or even a finalized state budget before June 16th, let alone by June 30th. So I don't know if we can count on that money coming in. I think it's one of those things that, just like this year, because they ended up reducing their budget, we'll have some money left over and generated for free cash. What could always happen is that if they do reduce their budget and they reduce the assessment, and you get to the fall town meeting in November, whenever it may be, you can always reduce their assessment on paper at that point to match what their actual assessment is, and then you can reappropriate that money somewhere else. But you wouldn't be able to do it, I don't believe, at the annual town meeting. We don't have 100% confirmations coming.
Yep. So just trying positively to try to make this work and get it reduced. So the backdrop, and Dee, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but the backdrop that I understand on the new growth was that there was a email exchange with the town administrator that it would be 80,000, but we're not sure we're going to make it. So then I had an email with the town administrator and said, well, if it's 80,000 and they don't think we're going to make it, let's not budget 80,000. let's budget 65. So now I'm thinking, all right, well, let's go back to the original email that I think had the 80,000. I think I've paraphrased this pretty well. So the question is it 65 or is it 80, or are you in a position to even say?
Yes, I think that in March, we sent you an email from Kateri, and at 65, and we are going to be really stretching it to get to the 65. There's no way we're going to see 80. We just don't have the growth. And that's why this new near map that we're looking at would be so good, because the near map, what it does is goes above and looks at the properties that we can't get into to look at. For instance, if someone has a fence around their backyard and inside the fence are sheds and things, we can't go in there. But a near map can really pinpoint the amount of blacktop that someone has, the amount of acreage that they have behind fencing and things like that, the buildings that they've put up that we would not be able to necessarily see. So that near map, according to many of the towns, has really brought in a lot of new growth, which won't help us for 26, but certainly going forward, it would help quite a bit.
Tony, you made a presentation regarding the Economic Development Committee a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was kind of a sandwich. The middle was really good. The beginning was some tough love, and the ending was not a great story. But I would just submit to everybody that 6 years ago, our new growth was $154,000. That's a precipitous drop. And the takeaway is that contractors and developers are not enamored with coming to Paxton to do the work because of an unfortunate business unfriendly reputation that we have, and now we're seeing it impact our annual budget. Because 154,000 would be pretty sweet. Struggling to make 65 is putting a hardship on the entire budget, and more than that, it has an image issue associated with it, which you can't dollarize, but maybe we just did by having that deep cut. So I don't know what the answer is, but we can't have it be 50,000 next year and 45 next year and 35 next year when we want to take it the other way. And the Economic Development Committee is doing everything in its power to take it the other way, but they've got some hurdles. So,
yeah.
I mean, as speaker.
Can I say? Yeah. Can I?
Yeah. Can you identify yourself?
This is Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to add one other note that we put a lot of the economic development on the fact it's tough to build, but I think the town has to take some responsibility, and all the people here. I mean, every year we're going through this now. So I think there's a responsibility of everyone in town as well, right? Why would a company want to come in and build in Paxton if every year we are fighting to just make our numbers? That's not a good optic either, and I want people to realize that as well.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you.
So if we look at 2, 3, and 4, it's kind of, for lack of a better word, and don't mean to be the professor, but it's kind of like the homework assignment to I think the department heads were looking for some guidance to kind of tell us what you want. Tell us what the boundaries are. Tell us what the parameters are. And I don't want to sit here and reduce the paper budget for the printer by half when I find out that that's just crippling to the town clerk's office. I think they need to tell us what they can live with and live without and the like. And I've given some parameters But if you look at number 4, 5% and 10% is going to hurt some departments, but it's not going to get us to $1,130,000 either.
No, I think our starting point should be number 3. I mean, it is just that, outside of guidance. So I think that is a good place to start, and then we go from there.
Do we have a total number for that?
291.
You've added those 4?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I hope I'm right in that accounting class. But, yeah, 291. So,
But good point, good suggestion. I think my point is I'd want police and fire to tell me one more time, what does that mean?
yeah.
Because I like the attractiveness of cutting it from the budget as well, but I think we owe them the courtesy of saying one last time, that's what you want, then we have no vehicles on the road and we have no coverage during the evening, and then I'm not trying to do the gloom and doom thing because I'm trying to cut and balance the budget, but I don't want to sit here and say, let's immediately take that out. Same thing with DPW. But DPW's 114 could tie into number 9, which is the Chapter 90. You know, what can we get creative? And we keep saying no to everything, then we're not going to get anywhere. But there's got to be a way where we can find a way to, okay, we're going to tap into some of those funds, and we can find a way to use it for some of these other things which are currently in the budget. So didn't mean to rain on your very good point, Jeff. I'm just saying that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah. My point was just that it should be a starting point, not that we decide to remove it from the table. That's fine to go back to the department heads.
Heather, when I look at number 4, I mean, where's 5%, 10% going to get us?
So number 4 is kind of going to be in conflict